And I know you all have to click a little button that says it's recording. And so I'm going to say a prayer. If everyone could self-mute, so we'll keep the recording nice and clean. All right, so placing my hands on my heart and taking in that deep cleansing breath of love and gratitude. So grateful for this opportunity to come together in this one space all over the world. Grateful for our willingness to speak each other's languages, and that language is the language of love. We're grateful for this opportunity to have this playground where we get to explore what we are learning and learning how to live through A Course in Miracles. And we are grateful to have open hearts and open minds so that we can hear and know correctly in our hearts and minds, and allow the shifts and changes, the ebbs and the flows, the tides to go in and out of our lives in all areas of our lives without being bothered, with remaining in this peaceful heart space. We are grateful for our mighty companions, for all the earthly and heavenly helpers that join us each and every week. We ask them to surround and support us, support the technology we are using to come together, and blessing each person here and all who may listen later. And we're so grateful that we get to share the benefits of our conversation and our lives of love with everyone, because we are one with them. In grace and gratitude, we let it be. And so it is. Amen. All righty. So we are in chapter 28, section 6. It's titled The Secret Vows. And it's a short section, but I had some trouble getting into this one, and I don't know if it's where my head was at when I was reading it, or I'm not sure. But I feel that it has helped to bring me to a space where I am more accepting of what is in each and every moment, and willing to remain in that peaceful space that I was talking about in the prayer. So what I'm going to start us with actually is paragraphs 5 and 6. And we'll go from there. All right. So sickness is anger taken out upon the body so that it will suffer pain. It is the obvious effect of what was made in secret, in agreement with another secret wish to be apart from you, as you would be apart from him. Unless you both agreed that it is your wish, it can have no effects. Whoever says there is no gap between my mind and yours has kept God's promise, not his tiny oath to be forever faithful unto death. And by his healing is his brother healed. Let this be your agreement with each one, that you be one with him and not apart, and he will keep the promise that you made with him, because it is the one that he has made to God, as God has made to him. God keeps his promises. His son keeps his. In his creation did his father say, you are beloved of me, and I of you forever. Be you perfect as myself, for you can never be apart from me. His son remembers not that he replied, I will. Though in that promise he was born, yet God reminds him of it every time he does not share a promise to be sick, but lets his mind be healed and unified. His secret vows are powerless before the will of God, whose promises he shares, and what he substitutes is not his will, who has made promise of himself to God. Yeah. I read that and my eyes are like, what the what? But I feel like what I'm actually getting from it is when I have a belief in sickness, whether it is sickness of the appearance of this body that I'm appearing to be in, or the appearance of sickness in other bodies that I am witnessing, there is an anger that I am taking out on that body. And that anger is, I believe, my belief in separation and sin. And so as soon as I remember that God's promise was that I am beloved of him and he of I forever, that I am perfect as God is perfect because I'm one with God, then that illusion just kind of vanishes. And I can just witness the thoughts, the emotions, the opinions, the judgments. I can just witness it all and not attach anything to it, because I know that it's just a playground. And there's times in the playground when I'm interested in doing battle. So I'm just going to enjoy the fight and witness it and know that it's not real. And there's no reason for me to be resisting what is happening, because it's happening. So it's supposed to be happening or it wouldn't be happening. So that's kind of what I got from this reading, even though most of the time my eyes were like, Chris and then Carla.
I just had a question now. Is those two chapters, is that specifically pointing to when you don't feel good, or when you have, or are you talking about in general?
I would say in general.
Okay.
Sickness doesn't have to be an actual illness. It really has to do with, for me, any time that I am feeling separate or other than.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Go ahead, Carla.
I think sickness is any time we leave love, because in thoughts, believing, or because that's what we are, then the sickness is not, I guess it's just, I don't know, it's just, that's what my sense is, that's what sickness is. So I didn't really resonate with this section too much, but then I was brought back to the first paragraph because I was like reading on, and I was brought back, and what was shown to me is, so this is the sickness, I think, because when we choose unloving thoughts, it says in the Way of Mastery, page 333, unloving thoughts alter the chemical balance of your body. Let me see. The very moment it's not think an unloving thought, it's believe in unloving thoughts, because thoughts are offered to us from the ego self or whatever. And it's like even spirit, even the truth, whatever you want to say, doesn't force the thought on us. We're just offered the thoughts, and we're the chooser. We end up, and that's what we choose is where we go. So it says the very moment you think or believe an unloving thought, as a physically embodied being, you immediately alter the electrical flow of energy throughout the physical system. You immediately alter the chemical balance of the body and thereby experience tightness in the body, the divine alarm clock, right? Sadness, perhaps, depression, and overall unease feeling. So
Where is that? What section is that?
it's on page 333 in the Way of Mastery. If you are interested, I have a group actually today. It's kind of late for you though, but I'm willing to, if I can get enough people to get an earlier time, so it's agreeable. But this is the Way of Mastery is not. I mean, the course is great, but it's more clear. It's not those double knots that the Way of that the ACIM does, and it was really helpful because you had to think about it when at first. But this is like another one. So if you're interested, it's page. That was page 333. Easy number to remember. And I was also got led to this page. There's a lot of pages, and it said, think on the unloving thoughts, but it's really believe on the unloving thoughts. Learn to master forgiveness. Dare to follow your heart. Celebrate life. Do what brings you joy. So all that, let's go back to, I was gonna do paragraph 1, and now I have to find it again. 222. All right. Who punishes the body is insane. It's the first paragraph, the very first line. And this is exactly what we're doing when we're choosing unloving thoughts, when we're believing the upset, when the thought offered to us, not the truth, then we're punishing the body. And to go further down, there's no numbers, so I don't know. And it says it, but I think it means the body. That oftentimes, the Course in Miracles goes on, and you have to go back and figure out what they're really talking about. But it says it does not tell you what its purpose is, and cannot understand what it is for. It does not victimize because it has no will, no preferences, and no doubts. It does not wonder what it is, and so it has no need to be competitive. It can be victimized, but cannot feel itself as a victim. It can go on, it's kind of confusing, but the body is just a tool. It's in the Course, it says we're not just, well, I might have added just, we're not a body, right? We're not just a body. Well, we're here in form. We're connected to this form, or your form, or whatever. So the body is an aspect of us in this moment. Bodies come and go. People get sad when death it's an ending. It's also a beginning, because celebrate the beginning, that they are just starting a new journey. Ah, great, I'm so happy. I'm just happy. And it's a choice. Ego can offer me for a long time, offer me something else, and I've chosen it, but I'm not the choices. That was just part of my learning. So I don't know what I'm trying to say. Yes. The body doesn't know. My sense is the world, most of the world, thinks they are the body. The one who likes the strawberry and the doctor and the lawyer and the one whose child, I mean, whatever. We're not. We're way, 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 way more. I can't just say enough ways. And the truth is, a lot of things have happened in this body's life's experience where I have felt the doubts and felt the fear and felt that it's all of it has been a blessing because it's helped me, teach me to let go. To let go of the past, let go of thinking, just let go and allow the higher self, the real self, to lead. I'm not fully there yet, but if I'm going to do another little plug. So if anybody's interested in coming to the Way of Mastery, that's what it's not about anything. This committed people, let go. Let go, and letting go is the healing. Let's heal together. Love y'all.
Thank you, Carla. We are healing together. Leslie, you were unmuted, so I thought maybe you wanted to share. Okay. Mark.
Yeah, let's start by lowering my hand. So, yeah, I was raising my hand somewhere when Carla, you were talking. I found it really helpful what you read about from this other book about the body and that, like, chemical changes and so on. I'm not really sure where I'm headed now. When I was reading this section, it was like parts I understand and I really resonate with, and there are other parts there where I also have a bit hard time. I'm not really sure how to what they're saying, what Jesus is saying there, because I find it hard how the joining with our brothers is working. I mean, I do understand the promise that I, as a son of God, has made with God upon my creation. You know, it says that God created us, or keep it to myself. God created me, and made a promise to me, and that I made the promise back. And I think my higher self made this promise, but when I forget, I am not in touch with my higher self. So this is a thing that I can understand and resonate with, and so. But I think I find it hard to like join with other people because it's so hard not to see the other people as someone else, and you I still see a body, so so and I guess that's also, I don't know, am I supposed, when I'm really joining with someone, not to see a body anymore? That's a hard thing. I mean, I think I've made quite some, it feels like I've made quite some progress in the last year, being more attuned to the Holy Spirit and to God, but still the other people, it's so hard not to see them as someone else. That's a hard thing, and I don't really understand it maybe on a mental level, but not. That's what I wanted to say, and I don't know if someone can react on that. But because that's a key point, isn't it?
Yeah, I absolutely can speak to that, Mark, because I have had that same experience. Like, how can I see that my brother is not my brother? And when I can feel into it, it's because of the oneness that I know with every cell, fiber, and function of my being, that I am one with God, that I am one with you, and you are one with me, that we are not really separate bodies, but these eyes are seeing separate bodies because we had this idea, this tiny mad idea, right? To come to this playground and play these separated parts so that we could have different experiences and different feelings and emotions. And when I read in A Course in Miracles that my brother is my salvation, I know that for a fact, because it's in the relationships that I have with others that I learn and grow. Because I can't have all of the, well, I am having all of the experiences, but just as this appearance of separate bodies. But it's fun to watch the other experiences being experienced by other parts, other cells of this being. And so I guess I could, like, an example I could give you is, as a counselor, I get to talk to many different people who are many different levels of their spiritual development, you could say. And knowing that there really is no such thing as levels or better than and less than and all of that. But in the past, when I would come across certain personalities, this personality could get frustrated or annoyed or start feeling inadequate or blaming the other person for my feelings of inadequacy. And just this morning, I had a short session, really more like a brief conversation with somebody that when I left the experience, I could not really tell you why this person reached out to me. Like, there did not appear to be any thing that they really needed counseling or wanted counseling for. And so instead of leaving that experience like I may have in the past, feeling frustrated or anxious or doubting myself and my skills, I was just like, wow, that was interesting. I wonder what that's all about. And I'm really trusting that whatever this person was supposed to get from our conversation, they absolutely got it. And I got the experience of going, that was interesting, So in in the experience, in the relationship of seeing my brothers as my salvation, for me, that was just a witness to the growth that I have made in the past few years, because I really did not come away from it with any judgment of that person or any judgment of myself. And that, I mean, you know, when I first started this journey with Jennifer in 2013, I thought like I was a super open, non-judgmental person. And shortly after beginning the journey with her, I was like, holy crap, there is not a single second I don't have a judgment about myself or somebody else. So that is huge progress for me. So in my mind, that is how I am understanding what the relationships are with others, whether they're on the same spiritual path as me or not, and knowing that everybody's path is perfect for them and everybody's teachings and learnings are perfect for them, and none of them are better or worse than any other path. I don't know,
Yeah.
does that help?
Yeah. It does help. It's holding the what's it called? Holding the high watch.
Yes.
When you're in contact with other people and staying attuned with spirit, and letting all the things that come up for in the relationship be cues to help you get healing, either yourself or the other person. So
Yeah.
that's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Before I wanted to say one more thing, and then I'll give it over to the rest. It was quite short. One thought that came up when you just started talking was, I forgot that I had some insight for time ago. That's you will never be enlightened on your own. So I think that when by the time that I will be enlightened, it must be that the world or the universe disappears. And it also says somewhere in the course that there is not a person on earth that never has had one a judgment or something like that. So as long as we're walking on this earth, there must be some residue in ourselves that is not in line with God, and that was helpful, I think.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to share.
Yeah. And
So,
realizing that the judgments are just the ways that we're playing on the playground, that it's not good or bad,
yeah.
but we can be neutral with it.
Oh, that's hard, but yeah.
Until it isn't.
I had a real hard time. I'm not going into that, but this morning I was really hard not to be judgmental.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Okay.
I was really not in tune, but okay. Bye-bye. Not bye-bye.
Right.
Thank you. And,
Thank you, Mark. Great. And then Carla.
Linda, I reckon that person just wanted to hang out with you and hear you giggling. Because every time I hear your voice, I just feel this fantastic, peaceful vibration. Anyway, talking about the different sicknesses, we can add tiredness to that list as well, because God is never tired. But how many times do we go around saying, oh, I'm so tired? Well, it's only because we decided we're going to be tired. It's definitely not real. So I stopped letting my mind think I might be tired. Just completely got rid of that. So I'm staying with my daughter and her family at the moment. And yes, while I lived in my cave back in Oregon, I was very enlightened. But now I'm living with a family, I'm not quite as enlightened as I thought I was. Judgments everywhere. And yesterday I spoiled the soup. And I'm sure there's a song about that. Was it somebody who made the tarts? I don't know. Anyway, there's a song about somebody spoiling the food. And my daughter was so upset. She spent so long making it. And I apologized. And I didn't say it's your fault, but I was kind of thinking it. Went to my room and did, I'm really sorry, Apono, please forgive me. And thank you, and I love you. And like 5 minutes later, she texted me, oh, mummy, I should have told you that I was doing this with the soup and da, da, da. But yeah, the judgments are everywhere, and it's a perfect playground to just see, you know. So yeah, I don't think living in a cave is a very good idea anymore, because it's just not challenging at all. And I have had to grow. But anyway, another thing came to me yesterday about guilt. I was holding the baby and I tripped up over something, and I caught myself falling, and I had my hand behind the baby's head, and the couch was there, so it wasn't too bad. But she got a jerk. And afterwards I thought, I've got to tell my daughter about this. I can't just not tell her. And I was so scared about telling her this. I went into the biggest dip into guilt that I have ever had. I told her, and, you know, they were sort of, yeah, okay, you know, you've got to tell us, and you've got to be careful, and you're getting old now. So you know, you can't do what you used to do, all that stuff. But I hardly slept all night because I was thinking, what if I did shake the baby? Because I know, you know, people who shake the baby have been prosecuted for murdering them, and I don't know why. I went into the worst state of guilt I've ever experienced. I thought, what if the baby dies? It took us so long to have another baby, blah, 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 blah. And it just made me realize, look at all the guilt inside that I had no idea about. Look how bad I feel that I brought all that crap up. And it was so bad I couldn't sleep. I was imagining the baby dying. I was imagining all kinds of things. And so it was just a little window for me into, I mustn't underestimate, you know, what my ego's doing, and the fact that I do think I killed God, and it must be a horrible burden. And so I'm really glad that that came out, and that it showed me just some of the guilt, and maybe there's more that was just lurking inside there. And the baby incident just gave me the chance to experience it. It was quite shocking, actually, quite shocking. I was really surprised at myself. But anyway, just for those of you who have any reactions like that, you know, I don't think I've ever felt worse than I did that night. Anyway, I did know that Spirit was taking care of me, and you know, I did pray all night, and he's fine. But still, that was an eye-opener for me. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Grace. I'm feeling for you, sister. I can imagine, and I have been in that space where you're feeling so guilty about something you do or you don't do, and just allowing ourselves to go with the ego all the way to the drama queen where somebody dies. And isn't that always the way it goes?
That's the hell. That's the bleak part of living on earth. That's what the ego wants to do to us. We were reading with Laurie the other day in our Course in Miracles. My ego wants to kill me, my ego. I've got to get it under control.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really, it's trying to protect us, but it doesn't understand because it's very immature, and it's okay. You know, it's just, again, it's just another way to play in the playground.
I don't think it's even, I used to think it was trying to protect me, but now I realize it's vicious and murderous, and I don't give it half the credit I used to give it. I'm definitely letting that bit go. From vicious to suspicious, right?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Grace. Mary Lee.
I've had a couple thoughts in reaction to different things that Mark said about how difficult it can be to think that, you know, we are one. And I need a lot more understanding than I have now of that, because it's easier today as I'm sitting here with all of you and for what we are talking about and sharing personal things from our hearts and experience. And we're not judging each other, we're sharing and looking for insights. And so it's easier to think, yes, our spirit is all as one here. And then I turn on the TV. and okay, I'm supposed to now transfer that to, you know, people that are murdering other people this morning and enjoying it. And how appalled I would be if they said, oh, we're one with Mary Lee. We're all one. We're just right all there. So I have real lack of understanding that. I am looking for consistency, and maybe that is a fault. Maybe I shouldn't be looking for consistency. I don't know, but I don't see it. So I need help, and I'm listening, and I don't expect any quick answers. I just wondered if that's the gap that is being talked about in our chapter, because you know, the way things are worded, Carla was mentioning about how the other book that she's studying, it helps in her understanding better. So I'm looking for the very first paragraph of our chapter. So that first sentence, who punishes the body is insane. And so I could think of these persons who are punishing their body by killing other bodies or something. I can get that then to me, the main topic for the rest of the paragraph, and I think it was perhaps Mark or maybe Carla that said, who is the it? Because that whole paragraph, who punishes the body is insane. For here, the little gap is seen. And I'm going to say that they're still talking about this little gap. And yet the little gap is not here. The little gap has not judged itself, nor made itself, the little gap, to be what the little gap, is not. It keeps referring to it, and the main topic has been the little gap. So my question, can you tell me who is the little gap? Or what is it? I'm sorry if I make no sense, but I'm trying to make sense of the very first paragraph. What is the little gap?
Carla, did you want to address that? Because I think she brought it up. Go ahead, Carla.
Yeah. Oh.
The little gap is like where you choose, right? So it's what you're choosing from. So the little gap is the small self, I think. The ego, the one who wants to choose. And so I don't know if that question is really. So I was thinking it was the body, but I think it's the ego, the false self, the one who thinks it knows, and the one who likes to decide, and the one who wants to tell us constantly what to do. So the gap, I see if I have it here. The Gap is actually a very beautiful place. See if I can find it real quick. Sorry about that. In NBC, he talked about the Gap. That's an old, okay.
And NVC is nonviolent communication for anybody who
Yeah.
does not know.
So thank you.
I'm-
So
I-
here
I-
it is. This
Oh.
is a quote. This is a quote from Viktor Frankl, who was in I think in Auschwitz or one of the concentration camps or something. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies the freedom to choose our response. So that space of thinking we know, it's that space where we can recenter on the true self, on what we really are. And what I was going to share was two things. Whenever you were speaking, Mark, what came to my mind was that when you believe more in what you don't see than what you do see, you will see what you don't see, and you won't see what you do see. And I have to go from memory. I think it's lesson 97 in the workbook. I am spirit. I am spirit. Not, we don't ask spirit. We ask ourselves, our true self, love, how to choose or what. And it's the one, I think what you're talking about, sure, it's a small space. I don't agree with everything that Course in Miracles says, but it's the one who thinks it knows. It's the one who wants to decide. It's the false self. And some people call it the ego, but ego is not bad. And I don't think the original ego was not bad, but I know for myself, I hated ego. We have altered the original ego. Ego was here, was a tool given to us to live this life of form in a body, right? And we've altered it somehow by hating it. Be kind to it. Don't accept everything it offers, of course. But the body is where the ego resides. It's us, kind of. Not the true us, because we are spirit. Lesson 97. That's what we truly are. We're one with God. We are love incarnate. So did that answer your question, Randy? I kind of go on and stuff. So, but I put something in.
Can I say something about the Gap as well?
Let me just do
Maybe
one
when
thing.
you're ready.
I put it in my eternal love chooser at gmail.com. If anybody wants to contact me, we can discuss this further. But please, Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I interrupt you, but I guess I got some clarity for myself right now on this Gap, and I hope I can get it into words. But when I think like, okay, when the separation happened, before the separation, I was just myself being one with God in total peace, and there was no world. I was just only bliss, a blissful state, and that was all I was. And you together with me, because we were one. And then I got this tiny mad idea, like, hey, I could be separate from God. And for this to have effect, I had to come up with a separation between me and God, because otherwise separation cannot happen. So there must be a separation. And what happens when there is a separation? There's going to be a gap. Okay, and now I feel like, okay, I am the little me, and there's God. And I can do what I want. But being not in accord with God, doing unloving things, I believe that I am doing something wrong. And I cannot live with that because I still want myself to feel good. So what do I do with the guilt that happens? I place it in the gap. And what do? I don't want to see the guilt. So I make the gap just as big so that I can put it out of my awareness and put the lid on it. And there is the gap with the guilt, with all my what's it called, karma, and I put it in the unconscious, and there's the gap between God and me. So that's what how I feel it. It really makes sense, right? Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Carla. Gwen, and then Priscilla.
Boy, what everybody is sharing today is like profound, it seems. And what Carla said about, whatever about, I can't even repeat it, how she worded that, but I know that makes sense. When you believe what you don't see, then you have it. But, and I liked what Mark was saying about enlightenment earlier. We'll never be enlightened because I want to always be ever evolving. So it's a continuum, and we'll never be quote unquote arrived because, and I don't.
Oh, that's wrong. We will arrive, and then we will be one, and the world will vanish.
Oh, okay.
We will arrive, but not in this world. That's what I said.
Okay, I like that. Thank you. And I was going to just speak to what Mary Lou was saying earlier when she was asking the question about, being one with that world out there when there's murder and all these things going. And one perspective, and I'm sure there certainly, Linda, you probably have a lot you could offer on that for sure. I don't want to feel that the world is a reflection of me, because that is not how I feel. I'm working so hard over here to try to be really aligned and coming from a place of love and be compassionate. And I look at that, and it is very hard to understand, especially what we see going on in Ukraine and everything right now. I liken it as everything, and it's not quite, Course in Miracles, but one little perspective is I look at it that every single thought I have, everything that comes out of my mouth, the actions that I take, all of these things go out and circulate, and this is how mass consciousness is created, because my thoughts add to your thoughts, add to everybody else's thoughts and deeds and words. And that is how anger and hatred and violence and war are created. So in my life, I have a really deep sense of responsibility, and I believe that we all do, and we don't always realize that. So that, it's just one little perspective. I try to get as clean as I can with myself on an ongoing basis, because I don't want to add any more to that. I want to add more, love and understanding. I want to live in a world of peace, love, and harmony. So thanks. That's what I wanted to share today.
Yeah, thank you, Gwen. Yeah, and it's an inside job, man. The peace, love, and harmony has to be an inside job first. So when you're seeing violence and hatred in the world, Where are you not loving yourself? Where are you being violent with yourself? Where are you hating yourself? And as long as you have those judgments, those hatreds, those feelings of rage within you about yourself, we're going to see it in the world. Even if it's showing up as guilt.
I was going to add one more quick thing too about thoughts. And I understand, what Grace was saying earlier. It's like immediately one thing and then my mind goes off.
Yeah.
And it's to the worst case scenario.
Always.
And I'm kind of being challenged because my partner is a former chief lobbyist in Washington, D.C. Very concerned and worried about our democracy and where we're headed. And everybody has, their opinion about that. So I'm like, I'm constantly just appreciating, allowing him to vent or say what he needs to say. But my mind will always go to, oh my God, this is going to happen. Oh my God, that's going to happen. And it's like, I have to come back to center. And I've been using a little tool that my mentor gave me years ago, where when a thought comes up, you can say, Jesus, Mary, Spirit, whatever, angels, transform that thought. And I just transform that thought. And immediately I tend to feel like a little minute shift and help me like take out of that. So,
Yeah.
but I know, my thoughts are like everybody else's are just going on that spiral downward if I'm not careful.
Yeah. And everybody likes the merry-go-round. So, we're just enjoying the playground. Thanks, Gwen. Priscilla and then Kathy.
Thank you, everyone. I'm losing my voice here, so I'm gonna try to be short. I hope you can understand what I'm saying. A little bit scratchy. It's about the gap because it rang a bell. I'm really into meditation. It has helped me a lot with my anxiety issues. And the very first thing that they teach you is to watch the gap between your inhalation and your exhalation. And that is so important because it's not you trying to manipulate your breathing. It's just observing. And I found something and I said, I'm going to share this because it's really good. Inhalation, gap, exhalation, gap, inhalation, gap. The gap is the most mysterious phenomenon inside you. When the breath comes in and stops, and there is no movement and no thought, that is the point where one can meet God. So every time that we talk about the gap, that's for me, that's the tip of, like I'm ringing the bell here. It's my silent moment with spirit. That's the gap for me. And the moment when I found it is always when I'm paused. It's not when I'm thinking too much. It's not when I'm talking too much. It's when I'm in silence and pausing, just like being really conscious of my breath, my inhalation and my exhalation. And that little gap right there, that's the miracle. Just wanted to share there. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Priscilla. Hope you feel better, sweetie. And I love that idea of the gap. I mean, when you think about it, our whole life is a gap because we come in to this seeming life on an in-breath and then we leave on an exhalation. So in between life and death is a gap. I'm just playing with it. Go ahead, Kathy.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks for everybody. I like Priscilla have really like the word gap very deeply for meditation and everything. But I also know that sometimes I use a little book and I put it in the message where I use a book that actually the purpose of it is to help with the pronouns. That's all it does. It puts in bold what they think the pronoun is, but that's still just an interpretation. Everybody can decide. And but the thing that came up for me strong as a personal share was people sharing about guilt and different feelings. And that I wanted to share that somewhere in the text, it says something about, do you need this or do you need that? And it lists things, or you probably don't really need this and don't need that. And then it says, but what you need is to want it. You have to want a miracle. And to me, the big G, the big G for Gilcom, it breaks my heart when I don't want it. And it unfortunately happens with regularity. I can start my day, and I often do right now. I'm very blessed that I'm starting my day with this energy and this happiness about knowledge. I'm just on fire, and I'm doing it maybe for an hour, 2 hours, 2 hours and a half, whatever. And then there's this, what they call sometimes the backlash. Who knows what it is? And I have to watch myself not want it. It's one of the most painful things. But what people say is your backlash can get smaller if you don't make a drama out of it. And this whole thing about not telling stories, you know what I mean? Like, I'm telling it now, but I find some redemption because I'm also including the truth. I'm not going with the angst of the angst, but I'm going with what could replace it, you know, which and the last thing I want to share is, in the few minutes I've been on this call, I've seen my countenance change. Actually, how I look changed from the 10 minutes that I was on the call. I could see my face getting lighter, the color, I mean, actually change. And I'm big into the whole Pono right now. And one of the things they teach is how the objects in the world change when they get cleaned. When we start doing well, we want, when we want, and as somebody who just before me was sharing, I think it was Priscilla, that we're in the moment. You know, you know, now is where it's at. And you have to want it to have it in the moment, because if you fill that moment with the past, that's what you've got. You know what I mean? Thanks for letting me share.
Yeah, thank you, Kathy. I just want to back around to Mary Lee, and then we'll have to leave because it's we're getting to the top of the hour. Mary Lee, do you feel like you have any more clarity about the gap? Oh, you're muted, honey.
I appreciate each thought, and I'm going to think about what I've heard. Also, Kathy put a paragraph in the chat line there about that it is replaced with the body.
Yeah.
And that may help as well. But all the thoughts shared, I appreciate.
Yeah.
Can I share
Right.
one thing before, just real quick?
Okay.
I want to respond to Kathy that I was told in a dream this. I don't remember anything else, but this I remember. Your healing is only limited by your willingness. So grow your willingness until you are fully healed. So that was an amazing statement that I was told. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. All right, so next week, continuing chapter 28, section 7, the Ark of Safety. I wonder if we'll get to go 2 by 2. So yeah, so that's what we're going to go into next week. I'm going to read from our Pathways of Light Insights for lesson number 95, which is I am one self, capital S, united with my creator, capital C. Jesus knows that we can't be aware of our one self and make illusions real at the same time. We have to let go of one to have the other. In this lesson, he guides us to focus on the truth about ourselves and our brothers. To do this, we must let go of our illusions about ourselves and our brothers. As we allow the awareness of the truth that we are one self united with our creator, We are able to feel our identity as peace and joy and love. It fills up our mind and relaxes every concern. We realize that the truth is true and nothing else is true. We realize that only love matters. We realize that all the craziness of the world is just a reflection of the ego's madness, and it doesn't matter because it is an illusion. Behind all the conflict is truth. Behind all the conflict is peace, is the peace of God. Behind all the conflict is our one true identity. We have never left our Creator. We are one light, and there is no distance between us. This remembering carries a feeling. It is a feeling of safety and joy and peace. Let me practice opening up to this feeling today. Let me remember the truth. Let me lay all illusions aside. Let me practice this again and again and still again today. I will to be happy. I will to remember the truth that we are one self, united with our Creator, and nothing else is true. As I repeat slowly to myself, I am one self. I feel myself moving into deeper and deeper levels of peace. I am one self. I include more and more in my awareness of what is my one self. Exclusions and exceptions diminish. I feel more deeply that you and I are one self, united with our Creator. As I move toward including all and excluding nothing, my experience of peace deepens. Joy grows as gratitude fills my heart. Everywhere I look, I see my one self. I see past words and behavior and forms of many kinds. As the light of my one self grows stronger and stronger in my awareness, I see that there is no loss in my one self, for it remains one. It remains one with my Creator and one with all love. As I remind myself throughout the day that I am one self, united with my Creator, I move closer and closer to identifying with the truth of what I am instead of a false image of weakness, fear, and guilt. This is my goal today, to remember my one self. I am grateful for these practice sessions, which redirect my attention from a false image to the truth about me and everyone. I am one self, united with my Creator. This morning, as I sat down to meditate, I had to stop and complain. I told Spirit, how could I possibly stop at the top of every hour and close my eyes for 5 minutes to think of the lesson? I have too much to do, and I don't feel good if I reach the end of the day without getting my stuff done, etc., etc. Oh my. I think I know so much about how to be happy. I think if my house is clean and the paperwork is done, that I will be happy. And when I'm at work, I think that if I keep my thoughts focused on the tasks required, that I will be happy. I think to please my ego, and this ego is my cruel dictator that I have come to think I love. I need to understand how brainwashed I have become. This lesson tells me the only way I can do this right now is to give 5 minutes of every hour to remembering how to think. I will try. And Yoda would say, there is no try, only do.
What's the lesson? What lesson is that?
Lesson, I think it's 95. Let me double check. Yes, lesson 95. I am one self, united with my Creator.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Linda.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye
Bye.
for now.
Thank you, Linda. Bye.
Thank you.